Our new behaviors with recording this evening, and that means that each time I'm up here as your MC tonight, I will hold this in my hand, and our speakers will be sharing a lavalier that will go from one to the next. My name is Claudia Brogan, and I would like to welcome you to this special evening. This will be a special little event that we are all optimistic will really succeed. This is the second in a string of what will be 100 professional development series items, we think. This is the second to happen as a special little night different from traditional Toastmaster structures. Now, what I'm going to use as my learning edge tonight as your MC is to try and set aside my Toastmastery habits. This is not a meeting. This is a workshop. This is a professional development workshop, and I'll do my best to facilitate instead of Toastmaster. And you'll see that what we're doing is we're playing a lot with tonight's theme. I invite you to feel creative, to feel thoughtful, to feel curious about words. Think tonight about words. Play with words. Pay attention to words. Set new goals for your own words and your own experiences. If you'll take a look at the yellow piece of paper which is our program for the evening for tonight's workshop, this is called Creativity Abounds, Celebrating Varieties of the Spoken Word. Celebrating varieties of the spoken word. What we're trying to do tonight is step out of our normal, regular behaviors and think about rap and music and rhyme and vocabulary and smart choices and expressing ourselves in creative ways. That's the essence of tonight's theme. So we will touch base at the end of this evening and see if we have accomplished that. See if your brain feels stretched with words. I went to go get us balloons. I'm here to tell you that the primary balloon supplies anywhere near us are all about having a new baby, boy or girl, and many creative shapes about birthdays. There are many ways, apparently, to say happy birthday with a balloon. I was not struck with any of those, so I used stars as our decoration. And that is to help sprinkle creativity into your brain. Let me lay out the plan for what we will be doing. You will see that there are 3 folks that will be helping with support for this evening's workshop. And our timer had a last-minute obligation and will not be able to join us. Ever at the ready has been Tom Nixon, who volunteered to serve as the timer. We will be asking each of the speakers to aim for the 10 to 12 minute opening, the sweet spot of 10 to 12 minutes. Now, one of our speakers, specifically Ron, has asked for 8 green, 10 yellow, and 12 at red. Either of our other 2 speakers, this is our chance to touch base. What's your preference, 10, 11, 12, or Ron's formula? 10, 11, 12, if you will, please, for John. I'm a memory expert, and I'd like to talk with you tonight about Joe's time request. And Gail, what's your preference? Okay, thank you very much. That's what we'll do. The videographer's Shay, would you like to say any words tonight about? Okay, as you might guess, he's ready to go. Look at him with all his technology. And third, we have a special role tonight that we are asking Kelly to help us with, and that is to listen for themes and lessons, for ahas and inspiration, to watch how this flows and pull this together. It's a special kind of challenge for a brain, and that's why we specifically asked her brain to take this challenge. And thank you very much for agreeing to do that. We're very excited about that. Yes, Shay.
One request. Whoever has the mic to face the camera, so we get a good angle on you, rather than, because I'm limited by how far I can get from the outlet of the mic.
Okay. And that's true for the lavalier as well?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right. Then, without any further ado, what I would like to do is welcome and prepare for our first workshop speaker tonight. Thinking about all kinds of different ways that we can explore the use of the spoken word. Our first speaker will be Gail. And Gail is a longtime member of our Speakers Roundtable. She, as a matter of fact, was one of our founding members. She credits Toastmasters with preparing her to deliver a keynote address to 400 Summit Club attendees at Aon's annual sales convention in Scottsdale, Arizona. In her talk, Gail will share with you how paying attention to details helped her become their top international sales professional, and a company of over 14,000 employees then and over 65,000 now. Watch for the creative things that she has done. She made me a list of 7 creative things she's doing with the spoken word, and we'll check later to see what you picked up on that. But I would like to see if you will help me welcome Gail Geary, perseverance, patience, and presentation, the 3 keys to sales success. Welcome, Gail.
However, I just can't resist. Let's see how these 3 characteristics will come out in a personal situation. One afternoon, after dating Wade almost 2 years, we were sitting around, reading the newspaper, all spread out, a leisurely Sunday afternoon. I had just received a wedding invitation in the mail, and I opened it up, and it said, "Jane and Bob invite you to celebrate their marriage." And I handed it to Wade, and I said, "Look, Jane and Bob are going to get married." And he said, "Why don't we? Why don't we?" And it sounded like something coming out of a man cave. I mean, I said, "Did you just ask me to get married and say, why don't we?" I said, "Yes." Well, and I wanted to solidify this agreement, and I said, "Therefore, can I call my parents? Can we call your children?" I almost said our children, which they are now, but he said, "Yes, you can call everybody." Now, you've just seen in my personal life an example of both of us showing over a 2-year period a great amount of perseverance, patience, but the kicker was the sales presentation. Handing him the invitation was not planned. It was entirely accidental. But I have come to understand that there is no thing that's accidental. Things are not just coincidences, because this was like a tipping point in the relationship. And if I wanted to go into my psychological mode, David Ryback might be telling me that Wade needed this to bring out his repressed feelings of love for me. At least that's what Freud would say. Freud would say that this is sort of a Freudian slip. Yeah. Now, this is specifically how we're going to use perseverance, patience, presentation in a sales situation. I was in my office right near here in a sales position, selling self-insurance services. These were commercial insurance services to big companies, when I received a call from a man who said, "I'm the director of the Southeast Lumbermen's Association." He actually said it like, "I'm the director, Southeast Lumber Association." I thought, you sound like that. You sound like you're the director. He said, "I'd like to get an insurance quote for our renewal." Well, when somebody in my business said they want to get an insurance quote, that is a sure sign. That's a signal that they're wanting to get the price. They're going to use it to beat up on their current broker, but they're not sincerely interested in changing. I said, "I'll do the proposal and the pricing for you. I'll come in person. I want to meet your entire board of directors." He said, "Fine." This was year 1. I was not surprised when I didn't win the proposal this year, because I'd only known the client for a month. That's not very long to know somebody whose business would be worth $1 million to us. Year 2, I had to take up the heat year 2 and show more perseverance and more energy and more muscle. At that particular time in the 80s, I was driving what I thought was a very cool car. What do you think? It was a baby blue Cadillac Eldorado with a white vinyl top. And we always wore prissy little suits back then. You know, we didn't even wear pantsuits, but we dressed up every time we went on a sales call. All these lumber people, these were not timber barons. These were sawmill owners, basically. Sometimes they had a good bit of money and sometimes not. But they were always in rural locations. You can imagine, where are they going to have timber? Where are people going to work? So I'd get in that Cadillac and I would drive wherever I had to go to meet with each of them individually. I wanted to make sure that they could see I was a woman of integrity, energy, that I would do a great job on their account. One time, I ran into the back of a lumber truck. Didn't hurt the lumber truck, but it sure did mess up my grill. Another time, my best meal to have in the town was Hardee's. That was the only thing I could have for dinner. And then, Tom, there was the place I stayed that I called the Rotel. You can kind of figure it out what a Rotel is about. I had to call and ask for more sheets. They looked like they hadn't been laundered. Woo! Not so good. So I went to a lot of trouble that year. Gave a wonderful proposal, excellent prices, excellent services. Thought I had that account. Year 2, great perseverance, patience, presentation. Nada. Nada. Now, it is at this point in a sale, whether this is a business sale or a personal sale, you've got to ask yourself. Some of you have been there with me. There's the song that goes, and I want you to participate with me. Okay, this is going into year 3. Should I stay or should I go? If you think that I should, go ahead, raise your right hand.
Go ahead with the sale, yeah.
Yeah, okay. If you think I should give up on it, raise your left hand. Okay. Well, I thought the same thing. And for a lot of us, what we have to look out for is we have to see, are there any buying signals coming from that person? Can we tell instinctively if they're sincerely interested in doing business? So year 3, I get ready again, the Cadillac's all gassed up, I'm out going around visiting people again. In fact, I went to their convention in Boston. I took Mom with me, and during the night, conniving things were going on. Not what you're thinking about, but there was a lot of talk about prices and things like that. And Mother said, your life is more exciting than an Agatha Christie mystery. Oh, really? Really? One thing came to me accidentally, but in the last month before the sale. A piece of paper that said Southeastern Lumber Manufacturers Fund. It was showing the money that they had to keep to pay claims in a special fund, because this account was primarily self-insured with the layer of insurance over that. So when I saw this paper and looked at it, I saw that my competition was gaining interest on their account and keeping the interest. The fact that I would notice this is absolutely amazing. And the fact that they had noticed it over time was even more amazing, because they had an advisor who was from Deloitte Touche. So they had the kind of advisor that should have noticed this. So I suddenly put this on top of the proposal. This gave them a definite reason. A definite reason. It was like the invitation to get married. They not only knew that we were going to give them great claim service, we were going to give them a comparable price, but they knew that their current broker was using their funds improperly. So here's a case where perseverance, 3 years of work, patience through all of that, and then finally, in any sale, looking for what is that tipping point. Now, if you are currently working on a sale, or you're currently involved in any type of relationship, we are involved with a relationship between a puppy dog and Wade in my house. You can't leave him alone. So anyway, the main thing to know is that look for what is that ingredient that's going to make a person want to buy from you. Look for the tipping point. In conclusion, do you want to stay or do you want to go? Let's hear it for go.
Go!
Go!
Perseverance, patience, and what's the third one?
Presentation.
Presentation. All right.
Several, and we could do this all night, but give me just a few. What you heard as variety spoken word in comments for us. Humor, song, references, story, fable. Yes. All right. Alliteration. What else? Yes. Should I stay or should I go? I bet you were all wanting to sing that really badly. And I bet you Keith's going to find that in our repertoire. Should I stay or should I go? What else? Here. Tipping point. Excellent. Phrase. This beautiful phrase, strong phrase that came up once. And the Rotel. Vivid. Character voices. Beautiful job on character voices to really set the stage and tell the story. Good. Very good. All right. We're going to play around a bit with the spoken for just before we bring up our next speaker. It's all different. It has all different kinds of pictures. I don't haikus. When you're young, can be a real way for us to play with language. To play with language in a way that hits the nail on the head. To play with language in a way that comes precise points that you actually don't get to flub around a lot with a haiku. You don't have that much time. A haiku gets right to it, gets to the heart of what it is you're feeling. So what I want to do is set the stage and tell you, Paideia School, you're familiar with, had a recent celebration of I'm going to ask us, just as an audio way, we're not going to do a visual, but in an audio way, have us just listen in on one of the students at Paideia School who shared her haiku. Now, you're going to need to focus on this since you don't have the visual cue. She's not here in the room. An 8th grade YouTube, go her out. But you want to close your eyes so you can focus on her words or find a safe spot, but concentrate and listen.
A poem with 3 lines. The first line had to be 5 syllables, the second had to be 7 syllables, and the third was 5, and it had to be about nature. Recently, I found out that these rules aren't necessarily true. A haiku may happen to come out like that, though. Haiku to me is a little masterpiece that I can create with a thought in a few words. I enjoy haiku because it's like a small riddle. You read it and make a picture in your mind to figure it out. Haiku gives me something I can think about. I'm very fortunate that I have discovered the truth about haiku and hope to continue learning more and more about it. A crack in the parking lot. I tightrope to the car. Old photo album, a past hidden between pages. Icy dewdrops that crunch beneath my feet. Wooden paint palette, I brushstroke a starry night. clay court, I step on footprints, making them my own.
And voila! There's a magical pencil at your place. A magical pencil which has been sharpened with love. And it is presented to you for each one of you as a participant in this evening. You have your own pencil. And you are invited to write your own haiku. I will share these with you. And this is room for your haiku, whether pencil or pen, however you'd like to. Modeled for us by an 8th grader. To think about our...
In crisp, fresh ways. The haiku, what a beautiful format. And now we'll explore yet another creative use of the spoken word in realizing their full potential. These techniques bypass our intellect to nurture greater understanding, deepen our awareness, and allow us to act with greater clarity and effectiveness. Now, soon and very soon, as a matter of fact, later this evening, you'll be given about the release of a CD that is fresh. I mean fresh from the producers. This has been released by the Ozark Mountain Publishing, Ron's new CD set, which is Breathing, Releasing, and Breaking Through.
You were a sensory being. Sometime when you were still in your mother's womb, you showed up. We won't debate when. And sometime between then and perhaps 18 months old, you were receiving all your information, not through an intellect, not through concept, which hadn't yet formed because you weren't there yet as an intellectual being, but as sensory information. You evolved this way, ladies and gentlemen. The babies that couldn't receive sensory forced by babies who could pick up cues. It's happening for you right now. If you listen to your body, that long pause just caused a feeling in you because it was an unusually long, awkward pause. If I were to smile genuinely at you, there's a feeling in the body associated with that too, because human beings learn to associate safety with a smile. If, on the other hand, I went like this, that has a feeling in the body too, because it's a threat. Even though you know intellectually that that is not a threat, at the sensory level, there's a feeling associated with it. We didn't lose that capacity. It's there all the while. In fact, parts of it are walking autonomously. Your body is picking up cues about the temperature, about the sound, about the feeling of the seat on your butt. All of which is being processed, all of which you are largely ignoring because your upbringing, your culture, all the conditioning teaches us to pay attention to the intellect. Some would say women are more intuitive. That may be true. The truth of the matter is we've all got that intuition there if we will listen. Now, why does this matter to us? Let's say you have an important decision to make, an important sale to make. Wouldn't you want access to all that additional valuable information? Wouldn't you want to pick up on the cue that this person opposite you can't be trusted? But they're not going to say to you, well, Claudia, you can't trust me. I cheated my last 4 clients. But if you're paying real close attention, there's a strong possibility that you will feel it. You will get that gut instinct we talk about that tells you, I don't know if I should be doing this. But we've been taught not to listen. So let me take it one giant step further. Of course you would want more information. Would you like to have your life transformed? Sometimes when we listen well, We are given information we can't get through the intellect because it doesn't exist in the intellect. It exists at the sensory level of our being. How do I know this? Because for many, many years, I've been working with people who are seeking to transform troubling places in their lives. And it just happened this weekend. I'll share this story briefly. We were in a workshop using breath work, meditation, a bunch of tools. There was a woman there who had struggled for 17 years with trying to find a God. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, as we were doing a deep breath work, she told me later with tears in her eyes that God found her in that breath work. And I said, what was that like? And she goes, I don't know. It's like right up here. Right up here. I said, well, that is just too cool. What do you think about that? She said, I have got a lot of explaining to do to everybody who knows me. Sometimes we get breakthroughs with this information. And in order to teach a little bit about this, I would be remiss if I didn't practice with you just a little bit. If you've never done meditation, you don't need to know anything. I'm going to guide you through a very few simple little things. The simple things are both feet on the ground, legs not crossed, arms not crossed, chest open, shoulders back. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, you close your eyes. If you're having a feeling about closing your eyes right this moment, you should notice that feeling. Or you can just soften your gaze and focus on nothing in particular. And then what I'd like you to do is to take a deep breath. Just feel the breath moving through you. If opinions pop up in your head, thank them for appearing, let them pass. Feel the breath in the body. It may be a rising and falling of the abdomen or chest. It may be the feeling of the air passing through your nostrils. Just breathe. Feel it like you would feel the tide, rising and falling, rising and falling. And then what I'd like you to do is to just scan your body ever so lightly, looking for a feeling anywhere. You can feel tension in the shoulders, an ache in the neck, butterflies in the diaphragm, a soft spot above the heart, an ache in the hip. Notice that feeling. Don't try and understand it. Just locate it in the body. Describe it to yourself. I have a fluttering feeling just beneath my sternum. I have a tight feeling in the pit of my belly. And then breathe with that feeling. Just breathe. Whatever rises, just notice it. The feeling may change. Some interesting thought may appear. Regardless of what happens, fold that into your breath. Turn your attention back to the feelings in the body. Find it in the body. Describe it to yourself. And just breathe. Just breathe. If thoughts rise, let them pass. Keep coming back to the feeling in the body, wherever you may find it. And just breathe with it. And with a spirit of curiosity, notice any thoughts at all that arise about this feeling in the body. It may be a pleasant feeling. It may be that you think it's rubbish. Just notice those thoughts. Take note of them. Fold them in and breathe into that spot in the body where you feel them. And breathe. And again, with a spirit of curiosity, gently ask yourself the question, what is here for me? What is here for me? Listen very quietly. Let your body talk. Make note of anything of interest to you. Take one deep breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, which brings you back to here and now. If something of interest popped up to you, please write it down somewhere, perhaps as part of your haiku, Kelly. Because what we learn from this is sometimes when we get quiet and just breathe and let our body talk, pieces of information will bubble up out of nothingness. And sometimes they're very valuable pieces of information. Often we don't know what to do with them. I've been known to talk about what gets revealed as a tapestry of me. There's a tapestry of Joe, a tapestry of David, a tapestry of Tom. And it's beneath the conscious level, and as we breathe and listen to it, it begins to reveal itself. I was talking this through with someone, and this is her actual story. She said, this was a woman in recovery from domestic violence and also from substance abuse. And we were doing this breath work, and there came this moment, and the feelings had been moving. In fact, they had started in the pit of her belly like ground glass. They rose up in